Begin tonight with a mass protest from coast to coast. Americans taking to the streets, voicing their frustrations with the policies of the Trump administration and Elon Musk, the world's richest man. All of this with the latest round of tariffs taking effect today, 10% on most goods coming into the U.S. Thousands gathering on the National Mall for the so-called hands-off protests organized by Democratic activists. Crowds also growing in Charlotte, North Carolina, New York, Chicago, and San Francisco. Many protesting the mass firings of federal workers and immigration policies. President Trump urging Americans to hang tough in a social media post earlier today, calling this an economic revolution that is already bringing jobs and businesses. But the president's tariff rollout has sent markets plunging and fueled fears of a possible recession. We have team coverage tonight. ABC's Jay O'Brien leads us off from Washington.
Tonight, hours into the start of President Trump's 10% tariffs covering most goods entering the U.S. Demonstrations erupting across the country, from Boston to Charlotte to Texas to California, protesting Trump and billionaire Elon Musk. ABC's Christian Cordero in Washington, D.C.
Hands off are the two words that's bringing everyone out here, and that's serving as a springboard for any of the many issues they care about. Throughout the day today, we have seen signs that say, hands off our schools, hands off our bodies, hands off our Social Security. It seems everyone out here has a message about what they consider government overreach.
And tonight, as President Trump's first round of reciprocal tariffs officially snap into place, with steeper tariffs just days away from more than 50 countries. Musk appearing to take aim on social media at White House economic advisor Peter Navarro, the architect of Trump's tariff policies. Navarro downplaying the stock market sell-off Thursday and Friday, the worst 2 days on Wall Street since the pandemic.
We're in a situation where we're simply rebalancing and restructuring. I can guarantee you that the market will find its bottom, that we will have the Dow hit 50,000 easily during the Trump second term.
Most economists warning U.S. consumers should brace for higher prices and disruptions. Grappling with Trump's tariffs on foreign cars and car parts, the British automaker of Jaguars and Land Rovers announcing it's pausing all U.S. shipments. And China already hitting back with its own 34% tariff on all U.S. imports.
I think it's still a little uncertain of exactly how that's all going to shake out.
But President Trump doubling down, adamant tariffs will bring home jobs and businesses, saying Americans should hang tough. It won't be easy, but the end result will be historic. With a deepening global trade war, Trump at his Florida golf course again today. The White House issuing its only official statement of the day, congratulating the president on winning the semifinals of his club's senior championship.
And Jay O'Brien joins us now from the White House. Jay, we're learning some
Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, which is to say in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh, which is the name of our Heavenly Father, meaning He is, Bahashem, meaning in the name, Yahweh Shai, meaning He is our salvation, and that is to the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans here in the Western Hemisphere, and to the rest scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth, who look like the other nations, but through the patrilineal lineage go back to the Hebrew Israelites, all right? Now, what you saw or witnessed was protests going nationwide and also worldwide, okay, of this current administration ran by or led to make you believe that it's being ran by President Donald J. Trump. All right? Which we know he just works for the elites to push their agenda. And the people, albeit are peacefully protesting right now, they're still protesting and making known their voice. All right? But shortly, they're going to get violent out there, okay? As the video said, this was the first day of the tariffs, 10%. But it's going to get steeper. What does steeper mean? Steeper means it's going to get heavier. 10% going to easily turn into 30%. 30% into 90%. They're not going to no longer be protesting peacefully out there. They're going to be looking for everything and anything to not only make their voice heard, but also to survive, man. Okay? What you witnessed or saw was peaceful, quote unquote, peaceful protests or riots. But when these tariffs get steeper, it's going to be a whole nother ballpark. All right? So it's hands-off protests right now, but shortly it will become hands-on. All right? And Trump has until April the 19th to invoke the Insurrection Act of, I believe it's 1805 or 1807. Okay? And these type of protests can give him more fuel to do just that. Enact the Insurrection Act of 1805, I believe it's called. In other words, martial law. You see, because these people, as it says in the Apocrypha, they're not going to regard their kings, okay? Their mayors, their governors, whoever's over their province or town or city, they're not going to regard them. That's going to be all thrown out the window when they can't afford any food for their children, when they can't afford a place to stay, because rent is up, their 401k, their pensions, their Social Security, all of that isn't enough to make it anymore. These people are finna lose it. And we're here to tell you we're all for it. In the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. See, we understand what's getting ready to come down the pike. They don't know. They thinking that their government has their best interests at heart. But little do they know, that couldn't be farther from the truth, man. They're getting ready to bring in the pain. And these people just can't see it. They're hoping right now. That's why these are peaceful protests, quote unquote, peaceful protests. They're hoping that by them making their voices heard, that their government will listen to them and lighten up. What did Pharaoh tell Moses? That he will take away the straw, and they, speaking of the Israelites, our foreparents, will have to make concrete without straw. Well, guess what? Trump or whoever's behind him that's giving him orders is finna tell him to what? Make it harder for them. And the people, they're gonna it ain't gonna be no more voices heard. They're gonna show up with, the right to bear arms, show up at these government houses, these presidents' houses, and they're gonna have to enact this insurrection act, man. All right. If they don't do it April 19th, they'll do it whenever they have to. But this is from the website Medium, and it reads, is Trump going to use the Insurrection Act to arrest U.S. on April 20th? And you see how many people that was? They don't have enough firepower to arrest thousands and thousands of. You got to remember, under DOD Directive Order of Defense 5240-1, they can engage the people with lethal force now. Okay? You see how all this is coming together? I believe it's DOD 5240.1. The police and other law enforcement and martial law can engage the people with lethal force now. It says, is Trump going to use the Insurrection Act to arrest U.S. on April 20th? I came across this video on TikTok, has gotten a lot of attention, and it frightened me. When I get frightened, unlike many people, I research and wanted to talk about what I found. So let's see, and let's play a little bit of this video here.
Franz Benito doesn't actually need us to go start rioting in the streets to go impose martial law. He's going to use the Insurrection Act of 1807. On January 20th, he signed an EO that required the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Homeland Security to go down to the southern border and check if there's any potential issues with that border. Then they were to report back to him any recommendations that they had regarding said border and how they could maintain control over it within 90 days. 90 days from that date is April 19th, so you guys know. One of those potential recommendations includes potentially invoking the Insurrection Act of 1807. Now, what this does is it allows the commander-in-chief to deploy the military and the National Guard to suppress civil disorder, insurrection, and rebellion. Now, you guys, if you do a little research, know who the Secretaries of Defense and Homeland Security are. So I feel like I don't need to explain them. Also, speaking of that, it's crazy that he decided to go stir stuff up with Mexico. He is trying to get military presence everywhere in the country through multiple avenues. That's what starting stuff everywhere is about. And just in case anybody's wondering, April 19th is 43 days from now. Why else would he come in trying to tick everyone and their mother across the world off?
So, as you can see, he's going to be well within his right with all these protests and all these people going to authorities, showing up at these authorities' people houses, like governors and senators. They're going to enact that Insurrection Act, okay? And it says basically they are talking about this executive order that Trump signed on January 20th, which he has 90 days, so which would be April 20th, after he was inaugurated as president. It is the executive order that was all over the news, where Trump wanted to spend a ton of money deporting undocumented migrants. And they're citing this part under Section 8B, which says, B, within 90 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of Treasury and the Secretary of Homeland Security shall submit a report to the president regarding their progress implementing the requirements of this section and recommending any additional actions that may need to be taken to achieve its objectives. So, just to make it clear, they have 90 days to recommend this act to be what? Taken to achieve its objectives. So, as the news broadcaster said, these tariffs are going to only get steeper, and people are going to be at unease. So you can see how Homeland Security is looking at this mass protest across the country as a threat to what? Either the president's safety or someone in his close inner circle, like, Elon or whoever else. And they're going to easily recommend him to enact that by April 20th, 2025. It can easily be done. Okay? So let's really buckle up, man. Because things are finna get, let's just say, bumpy. It ain't finna be no smooth ride or smooth sailing. Things are finna get bumpy. And the people don't have any idea. It says, the lady in the first video is saying that it then says the point of this meeting is to decide whether or not to implement the Insurrection Act of 1807, which would send out the military without needing the approval of Congress. You see, they already want, listen, they already want certain cities and states with the presence of military already there. Particular, these heavy traffic cities, New York City, Los Angeles, Miami, Atlanta. They want a presence of military already put into place in these cities for when hell really breaks loose, for when all hell really breaks loose. They're going to already have boots on the ground. And they're not going to be your normal military or police officers. No, they're going to be foreigners. We've already seen them already bring them through the border back in 2024 with the Chinese migrants, with the African migrants that they try to blame. See, they try to make it all on the Northern Kingdom, the so-called Latinos, but amongst the Latinos, they were bringing in other races as well, like Moab, the Chinese, Ham, the Africans, all young men of military age. They're already here in your cities. Trump just has to enact this Insurrection Act and give them their orders, and they gonna be ready, man. To what? Engage you people with lethal force. Look at the DOD 5240.1. You're gonna see they can now engage the people, the citizens of America, with lethal force. That means they could put you down. No questions asked whatsoever. So it says, Insurrection Act of 1807, which would send out the military without needing the approval of Congress, that would arrest anyone who was helping in defending immigrants, even as just a part of free speech. They're going to use this Insurrection Act more than just that, man. Okay? The executive order says these immigrants are a threat to our national security. So this sounds believable at first. Okay, they're going to use this Insurrection Act to get you people in order. They're going to use this Insurrection Act to restore order. And ultimately, they're going to use this Insurrection Act to bring in military presence to monitor what's coming and leaving out of these cities. Whether it's trucks bringing in food, whether it's people leaving or coming and going, because there's going to be a what? A heavy presence of military. And as it says in the scriptures, and we're going to get that, Abaratasa, Father will, it says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. Why? Because they're going to be heavy presence of military in every town and city. Okay? And you're not going to just come in these towns and cities because they're going to be monitored by these, what? Martial law troops. Okay? So they're going to put these troops in strategic cities and towns throughout the country, man. They're just using that migrant thing to get a stepping foot, to get a foot in the door. And then you're going to see the true purpose of why they brought them in, why they wanted the people to get rowdy and out of control, so that they can be justified, so that they can really rouse up the people. Okay? They're going to let these other nations get off on you Americans, man. You see, your local police officers, they may have a soft spot in their heart for you because they can relate to being an American. But a Chinese man don't give a damn. An African man don't give a damn about you being American. Matter of fact, they don't like you because you're American. So guess what? They're not going to have any problem with engaging you. And if you give them the slightest sign of disrespect, they're going to take you out, man. As it says in the scriptures, the sword, I believe that's in Ezekiel, the sword should, I'm going to roughly paraphrase it, but it says the sword should perish them in the city and famine in the country. Roughly paraphrased, I believe it's Ezekiel 7:15 or 5:15. I'll rather say I can get that as well too. Okay? So they're going to have the troops already here. They're going to have the law. See, they're going to be able to bypass Congress with this Insurrection Act. Okay? And they're going to have the troops already here strategically placed in these towns and cities, man, throughout the country. Because why? Look at the scope on the protest that went on today, April the 5th. I can't remember the last time I seen riots as big as this. I think they were even bigger than the George Floyd riots, man. Okay, and this is just the beginning. Okay? As Ezra said, the beginning of sorrows and woe is me. Hey, the people don't have any idea what's coming down the pipe, man. Which is why they're going to get taken out left or right without even seeing it coming, man. Okay? So let's get a few precepts, all right? Give me 1 second. All right, this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 14. It reads, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." So it's finna get real out here, all right? It's finna get, or it's going to get real out here. Little do the people know that there's troops coming to put them down, man. And we speaking of America because America's going to be destroyed, man. All right? We can't say that enough. America, Babylon the Great, is going to be destroyed. But before it's utterly destroyed, there's going to be civil unrest, chaos, and much, much more. All right? So it says, "For the sword in their destruction draweth nigh." Right. Them troops is getting ready to come out of hiding. You see? They already here. Little do the people know, man. See, they waiting for the government to say, we're going to bring in the National Guards and the UN. No, they're already here. Okay? The people don't have any clue what's getting ready to go down. It says, "For the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." Right? So that's truth be told, that's really why America is still intact, because the people have the right to bear arms, and the government don't want to engage with the people because they know that a lot of these people, especially these red-blooded Americans, these down south Edomites, they got stockpiles of ammo and all type of arsenals. They're their own militia. All right. But now that we're getting close to the end and this devil has but a little time, he got to come with it, man. He got to bring it. So he's setting the stage, man. And these good old boys, as they call them, is ready, man. They ready to go. Okay. They ready to get it on. They haven't had a civil war in quite some time, man. So they ready to get it on and popping, man. They ready for the government to come in and use martial law and enact the Insurrection Act of 1807 and sending these foreign troops. And these foreign troops, they going to get down too, man, because the government, the military, whoever you want to call them, Homeland Security, is going to equip these foreigners, these Gergesian troops with ammo and weapons as well, man. So these elites is finna let America burn, man, from within. Oh man, this is go. Hey, this is the time to get prayed up, man. This is the time to actually fear the Lord, man, cause shit's finna get real right now, man. Esau is finna let this place implode on itself, man. The elites of this society is finna let the people fight it out, man. With modern day swords, the firearms, man. He's actually finna let this go down, man. And if you ain't got the hedge and protection of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, you're gonna get caught up in it, man. No matter where you at, you ain't going to be able to run, man. As it says in Ezekiel 7, the sword in the field and famine and hungry in the cities, man. You're not going to be able to escape this. The elites is finna let this place burn, man. Crash. It's finna get real. I don't care if you can't get it. Okay, if you ain't of the elect, I can care less, man. But I really pray, sincerely want you to get it. So that you can repent if you of the elect. If not, well, guess what? You'll get it on the other side. So it says, verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. So they're going to be sedition, going up against the government, going up against his authority. It's finna go down, man. You seeing the reason why. Taking away the people Social Security, taking away their jobs, putting tariffs on the people, man. The people is at the breaking point, man. They're now just peacefully protesting. But as these tariffs get steeper and the days grow older, they're going to start rising up against the oppression. As it says in Proverbs 29:2, when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. They finna show their displeasurement. Okay? So it says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. That's, you can say, their governments, the president, their mayors of whatever town and city they in. They're not going to regard them, man. Because they're going to come to find out that their governors or their mayors or whoever, their counselors, don't have their best interests at heart. Because if they did, they wouldn't let this shit go down like that. We voted for you. We put you in the town hall. We put you in the seat of a mayor. We voted you for the senator. And man, all that shit don't matter no more, man. It's finna get real. It says, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city, verse 17, and shall not be able. Why? They're going to have troops monitoring the activity coming and going out of each city. Checkpoints. I need to see your paperwork, or I need to see that chip, that microchip. I need to make sure you're clear of any type of ailments or, pestilence or whatever. They're going to have checkpoints at strategic points, man. They got to enact this Insurrection Act 1807 to bring in more firepower, to bring in more troops in these heavily guarded cities, man. These big towns. That's when you're going to see the more presence of these troops at, man. Coming and going out of these cities and towns, man. That's where most of the activity is going to be at, in these big cities and towns, man. So it says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and man shall be afraid. It's really going to go down in these cities, man. I can't stress that enough. These cities is going to feel it the most, man. You see, you somewhere out in a rural town, you're going to feel it, but these overpopulated cities, oh man. Whew. Get ready though. It says, verse 18, 2nd Ezra 15 and 18, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods. I wonder why. There's going to be a famine, man. Okay? It's coming. Because of the lack of bread. Man, I don't know how to make it more plain to you, man. That famine is coming, man. They're orchestrating that stage famine. They want people out here going at each other's neck. They're taking away jobs purposefully. They're raising tariffs purposefully. Okay? They're staging this. They're causing the problem. Then they're going to wait for the reaction, which we're seeing now. And then they're going to come with the solution, the microchip. We here, baby. We here. If you can see it, hey, give all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, man. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. The modern day sword is the firearm. And spoil their goods. Why? Because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Jacob's trouble, man. A time like none other. Okay? I believe that's it. It says, yeah. Yeah, a lack of bread and for great tribulation. So it's coming, man. All right? The people, they're quote unquote peacefully protesting, but as it gets later and later on down the line, those peaceful riots or protests are going to turn deadly. And you don't want to be out in amongst all that, man. Let that be for the people of the world. You in this truth, stay the hell away from those protests and riots, man. They don't have nothing to do with us. If the blind lead the blind, they both shall fall into a ditch. Let those people out there that think they're going to be able to restore some type of, humanity to this place, let them fall into a ditch, man. See, them people, they invest their whole life into this society, into this kingdom. And to find out that it's getting ready to fall, and not just fall gracefully, but fall hard, quick, fast, they losing it, man. It was one video where a Jake lady, said she just want to live comfortably. Give her 401 pension. She just want to live comfortably. See, that's the mindset of our people, man. They want their 401k. They want their pensions so that they can live comfortably here in Babylon. Well, no. The Most High is going to shake things up here in Babylon the Great, man. And he's using Donald Trump, okay? He's using Donald J. Trump, which we believe is that cruel Lord, man. But we know that Donald Trump is getting his marching orders from the elites, man. But we know Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai is controlling them as well. See, all of this is for the will of the Father, man. All right? So let's go there to Isaiah 19. This is Isaiah 19:2. It says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. See, it's finna get real out here, man. These Americans finna start going against these elites, man. They setting the board game up for you Americans to go against each other, man. They're gonna turn you against your own selves. They're going to use the lack of bread to make you turn into animals. They're going to use the lack of bread to make you turn into animals, man. They're going to dangle the last piece of bread. They're going to strategically do this shit, man. All right, send this truck. They know all this shit, man. Hey, Esau Edom is the wicked for a reason, man. He's going to turn y'all motherfuckers against each other, man. All right, send this truck here to this town over here. But don't send it to the next town. Leave that town alone and put everything into this town. And then you're going to have people trying to come over to the next town, but they can't. Because why? Those troops are going to be there monitoring shit, man. So Esau finna stage all of this, man. Civil unrest, potentially civil wars, and ultimately, he's just going to let this place burn, man, from within. It's going to implode on itself from within. But Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai is going to burn this place, speaking of America, Babylon the Great, by thermonuclear missiles. But as it says in Luke 12, Yahweh Shai, he says, what shall it be if I already come and there's a fire kindled? Roughly paraphrasing, meaning what? Things are going to be in complete turmoil, chaos. All right? When Yahweh Shai comes, he's just going to come to finish it off, man. Along with the chariots and the missiles, he's just coming to finish America off, man. Once and for all. But it's already going to be in turmoil when he comes. All right? And, hey, we reading it. It says Isaiah 19:2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. What is the spirit of Egypt? Babylon the Great, America, man. And I will destroy the counsel thereof, And they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. They're going to look for all type of aid and help. And ultimately, they're going to turn to that microchip, man. That's that familiar spirit, them wizards, because that microchip is going to be able to do all type of miracles, man. So they're going to believe. That's going to be the selling point. Oh, you take this microchip, you'll be able to walk again. Oh, you take this microchip, you'll be able to get food to feed your children. They're going to turn to these idols, these charmers, these familiar spirits, and to the wizards. That's all encapsulated in that microchip, man. That's going to be their savior. Little do they know, it ain't going to save them from nothing, man. All right? It says, verse 4, and the Egyptians, you Americans, will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord. And we believe through the power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai that Trump is that cruel Lord, man. It says, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord, Yahweh of hosts. So Yahweh is the one that's setting all this up in the spirit from the beginning, man. This was already set up. It just had to play itself out in real time, and we're witnessing it. We're taking part of it. We're seeing it come to fruition. All right? And it ain't going to get no better than this, man. Okay? Them people finna start losing their damn minds, man. See, if you ain't got Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai on your side, going into the grocery store is going to be a task in itself where you got to watch your back. You may have to take 3, 4, 5 people to do what you used to do on your own for what? Fear of somebody watching you or getting ready to take the last bit or whatever you got and throwing down in the middle of aisle 9. See, you women, you're going to need a man. You're going to find out why a man is a covert from the storm. Because what's getting ready to come down, you ain't going to the grocery stores no more on your own. Pretty much, you ain't leaving out your house anymore. You're going to have a man to protect you, even in your house. 7 women should take hold of one man, saying, I will wear my own apparel and cook my own food. Only let me be called by thy name to take away thy reproach. Getting ready to come into these times, man. And it's going to be on this side. It ain't going to be in the kingdom. The women is going to take hold to that one man on this side. All right? Because the women, the Israelite woman, she ain't going to work in the kingdom. So how is Isaiah 4:1 going to be in the kingdom when the Israelite woman isn't going to work in the kingdom? She's going to have handmaids. All right? Isaiah 4:1 is going to take place on this side. So it says, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them. And, you know, like was stated earlier, we believe that cruel Lord and that king is Donald J. Trump, man. Gonna kickstart this thing off right. Gonna, you know that song. We're gonna get this thing start. We're gonna kick this thing all right. We got this and that, or however that song go, but Trump gonna get it kicked off, man. He gonna kick things off, and he's already kicking it off, man. All right? He ain't worrying about you damn people. He out there trying to golf 18 holes, man. On this course of Mar-a-Lago. His estate got protection, man. Heavily protected, like fortified, like a castle, man. You ain't messing with him, man. He got his bodyguards. He done beefed up security, man. All right? He already know what's coming down the pike. He ain't stepping out here half-assing, man. All right? That thing that happened back in July or August, that was staged, man. That man got security. He's beefed up, man. Ain't nobody getting no free shot at him, man. Let's be for real. He got to see this. He got to see this plan all the way through. Or if he reneged, they may take him out, man. If he try to get a change of heart, they may take him out and send things spiraling out of control. These elites got so many ways to go to use this thing to get everything popping off how they want that, man, hey, we just got to be prepared, man. All right? This is Ezekiel 7:15. It reads, the sword is without, and the pestilent and famine within. He that is in the field shall die with the sword. You see? So you ain't going to escape judgment, man. Whether you in the field or it says, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. Or if you in the city. You see, because these cities, they're going to be hit the hardest, man. They're going to be able to control everything coming and leaving. So they can control the lack of bread thereof. They can control who gets medicine, who gets this and who gets that. Okay? Now in the field, you know, you may have these rural parts of the country that don't have heavy population. They're going to have the swords out there, man. They're going to be, hey, them troops going to be out there too, man. But not as heavily, you know, concentrated as in these cities, man. All right? Because that's where majority of the people, you know, reside at, in these cities, man. In these quote unquote projects or hoods or wherever, man. Where you got 5 and 6 story apartments, and in bigger cities like New York, you got like 15-story apartments, man. Housing like, dare I say, 1,000 people, maybe 500 families, you know, 2 and 3 different families, you know, living in one apartment, man. So they got to put a heavy presence of these martial law troops in these cities, man. But not to be mistaken, they're going to be monitoring and you know, going throughout the whole country, man. All right? So you ain't safe from anything. All right? So this hands-off protest is finna really get hands-on, man. Up close and personal. All right? And if you ain't got Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah on your side, you going to get touched, man. And you might even get put, you know, get put away. Down, should I say. You might even get put DOWN. All right? You know it. So let's go ahead and close out with 1 Peter 5:8. And this is the book of 1 Peter, chapter 5 and verse 8. It reads, be sober, be vigilant. This is the time that you have to really listen and you know, listen to what the word says and do it. As it says in James, be ye doers of the words and not just hearers only, man. This is the time that we actually got to do what's required of us from the word, man. It says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. All right? The man already got laws on the books, man, to engage the people with lethal, deadly force. What more do you need to know? He's causing these damn riots and protests by stripping away the people that tit out of their mouth that they grown so accustomed to having pensions and 401ks and believing if they work their whole life they can retire. He's taking it all away, man. There will be no more savings with this new world order, man. You won't have the ability to save anything anymore. The currency will be digital. It will be expiring. You will only have a certain amount of time to spend it, man. No more will you be able to hold physical, tender, fiat currency. It's all digital. They can give it to you and they can take it away from you. So be sober, be vigilant. Why? Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion walketh about seeking whom he may devour. A lot of people are going to fall victim to the sword, man. I'm just going to say it, man. They ain't going to see pestilence and famine. Those that do, they're going to wish they did fall to the sword, because as it says, better is it to, get taken out with the sword than to have to go out by hunger, because at least the sword is a quick hit. But when you got to go out by the way of hunger and famine, you feel all of that, man, and it can linger days on end, because it take you a while to, to fade out. When you hungry, man, you get hit with a sword, you out of here instantaneously. But hunger, that could take up to a week or even more, man. So be sober, man. Be vigilant. Now's the time to see that prophecies are at the door, man. Keep your house in order, your temple, your body, your mind, according to the scripture, man. Now is not the time to fall off. Now is the time to even be more sober. It says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. Okay? So with that being said, pray someone was edified through this lesson. And until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We almost home. Shalom. Peace.